I've made some huge changes to my Game Week 1 draft that will give me the optimal start to the season. And starting off my updated draft is going to be Brentford's new goalkeeper, Flecken. Now, I've had a lot of debate about this one, whether or not I do think he is worth it at 4.5 million. That is kind of the price point I usually like to go for goalkeepers. Don't usually like to fork out for the 5 million goalkeepers. I think Onana and Ramsdale are both amazing picks, both players I've had in my Game Week 1 draft, but we're going with Flecken because it allows so much extra opportunities in attacking areas with that extra 0.5 million. So I'm going with him. It looks like Raya is potentially going to be on his way out of the club. I thought that was potentially going to be an issue. It still might come Game Week 1, so again, this might change yet again. But with him not being on the bench at all, not included in the squad in Brentford's latest Summer Series squad, and there kind of being a lot more rumours about him potentially leaving, I do think this kind of confirms that Flecken is going to be the number one and the starting goalkeeper for Brentford this season. 14 clean sheets for Freiburg last year, a really impressive goalkeeper. Brentford have managed to pick him up for a bargain bottom price, and usually with recruitment, Brentford get things pretty much spot on as well. So I think he's going to be a fantastic option in goal for my Game Week 1 draft. Moving into the back line, there aren't really any changes to my original draft that, you know, I have had to make because I think it is pretty much template, pretty much a very strong back line. So starting off, we do have Estupinian, good opening 3 fixtures for Brighton. He was their standout performer last season, 1 goal and 7 assists as well. Obviously, after those 3 fixtures, there are so many other good defensive options around that price point. It's very easy to pivot and maneuver off of him as well. Moving on to our next defender, it is Gabriel, the 4th highest scoring defender last year in the game. 3 goals, 0 assists for him, and had the he didn't have the highest, he had the second highest XG among defenders as well. Always a threat from set pieces is this man. Also as well, Arsenal have amazing fixtures up until around Game Week 8, Game Week 9, and they are arguably going to be one of the best defences in the league again. So even when them fixtures turn, I imagine he is just going to be a very reliable player to have throughout the course of the season. Moving on to our next defender, again, another man who has not left my team. It is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously, lots of us know about Trent, don't we? 2 goals, 8 assists. Going to be playing in this midfield role. I think that is where they're going to get the best out of him as an option this year in FPL. It's probably the last year we're going to get this opportunity to use him as a defender as well, because as soon as he goes into that midfield, his value massively diminishes as an asset. So I want to own him for the final year of FPL. Liverpool's fixtures are a little bit hit and miss at the start, but he is going to be one of those key assets within that side that I do believe you're going to need to own for Game Week 1 and for large majorities of the season. Also as well, if it doesn't work out, he is at that top price point. We can easily maneuver down to get him in rather than not go with it. Obviously, not go with him, get my words out here, not go with him and then kind of struggle, sell certain players to get up to Trent if he's absolutely smashing it at the start of the season. Had a few comments as well about, like, you know, why are you going with Trent? It's just easier to move it down than up, I've found within FPL over the past few years. So that's why Trent is in the team. Moving into our midfield, the first midfielder, again, another player who's not left my draft since Game Week 1. It is Bruno Fernandes. 8.5 million for this man is an absolute joke. I've been saying it all pre-season long. 8 goals, 9 assists on penalties as well. I think with United not having a forward yet, for me that diminishes Rashford's value, because when he plays in that forward role, he just doesn't look as good as when he's playing a little bit out wide. I think with Bruno, obviously there is kind of the debate of how Mount is going to potentially impact his minutes, but I think the penalties hopefully should kind of subside that. As well, he's got the captain's armband, so I imagine he is going to be playing every single Premier League game for Manchester United this season. He's a really good asset. I think a lot of people have forgotten that. The underlying data he put up last year as well was absolutely phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. So Bruno Fernandes is going straight in this draft. Again, another player staying exactly the same from the past few drafts. It is Saka, 14 goals, 12 assists on penalties. I think you need 3 Arsenal assets, as we'll come to talk about the final Arsenal asset as well. I do think you're going to need 3 Arsenal assets going into Game Week 1 because the fixtures are so good for Arsenal. They're a brilliant team as well, attacking and defending. defending. There's plenty of good price assets as well this year. You got your Sakas, your Jesuses, your Martinellis, your Gabriels, your Salibas, your Ramsdales. There are so many good players that you can pick from, a plethora of talent which should be in your game week 1 side. And Saka as well does offer that little bit of an opportunity as a potential differential captain in game week 1 and other game weeks as well, potentially game week 2 as well. Moving on to our second actually, new player of my updated draft. It is Gabriel Martinelli. Now, I think I've been sleeping on this man. I looked through some of the data that he put last year and oh my god, this man absolutely smashed it for large parts of last season. 15 goals, 9 assists as well. I want that double Arsenal attack with the defender as well. Even an Arsenal triple up is not out of the question. I think Arsenal, like I said, they're going to smash it. We're going to need as many of these assets in our team as possible. And Gabriel Martinelli, people are sleeping on him. People are not going for this man. I think he's at 22% owned at the moment. He could be a massive rank kind of swinger if he absolutely cracks it. My only concern with this is the fact that Arsenal do have quite a lot of options in his position. We saw Trossard in midweek in pre-season, scored a brace. That is a little bit of a concern and kind of one of the things that's been hindering me back. But I've kind of been hot on Martinelli this week. Maybe give it a week, I'll probably be cold on him yet again, but we will have to see how that kind of works out, because what it allows me to do up front by removing Jesus, we will come on to talk about, is very, very sexual, ladies and gentlemen. Get the Marvin Gaye on, get the lube, because the things up front, they're making me a little bit erect. I'm not going to lie, they are.
I don't know, I think that's a bit dodgy, mate.
But we'll come to talk about that. Moving on to our final midfielder, and it is Eze, a player who has been cooking in pre-season and was already preheating the oven at the back end of last season. Sheffield United in game week 1 is an amazing fixture. They look absolutely shocking, and Tim Pot, yeah, I think they're going to be the whipping boys of this season's Premier League. Eze seems to be the key man, the danger man for Crystal Palace. Looks like he's going to be on penalty kicks as well. Palace's fixtures are kind of like a little bit mid, like they kind of go good, bad, that kind of way, but rotates quite nicely with Mbeumo, who we do have on the bench as well. And at 6.5, there are a lot of other good options that you can easily rotate Eze in and out for. But for me, I think this man is going to absolutely excel this year. This is going to be his big season. This is going to be his statement. Wilfred Zaha is gone. This man is going to be the new face of Crystal Palace, ladies and gentlemen. So very happy to have him in. Wanted to get him in this draft somehow. I've been trying for a few weeks to find the formula. It's finally happened, and here he is in the draft. Right, moving on to the forwards. Like I said, these are sexual guys. Obviously, starting off with the big one, it is Erling Haaland. He's going to be in everyone's drafts. I don't think we really need to say too much on him. Moving on to our second forward now, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it gets spicy. We're going with Ollie Watkins. I have not seen him in a single draft yet. Not at all. And the reason I'm going with him is last year he was the 4th highest scoring forward, 15 goals, 8 assists on penalties, and I can see this incredible partnership being built with Diaby. Now, obviously a lot of people are like, well, he's a winger. No. If you kind of watch tactical breakdowns, I've seen quite a few of Diaby and of Emery's kind of play style. He likes to play with a forward and a kind of a guy who's, I'm going to describe as a floater, someone who's just kind of sitting behind the forward, will make progressive runs as well, pick up the ball, and I could kind of see it in the pre-season game that they had in the summer series the other day. It's already sort of there. His pace as well is going to allow Ollie Watkins more space, more time up front as well. He's already shown that he's a very impressive finisher as well. So I'm very happy to have this man. Yes, game week 1 isn't the best Newcastle away, but you know, I think he could score in that one. I don't think Newcastle look as good as they did last season. Towards the back end as well, they weren't keeping many clean sheets. Champions League football as well in the mix. I do think they're going to have a little bit of a drop-off this season. Watkins as well, Everton in game week 2 and Burnley, I believe, in game week 3. There's some really saucy fixtures. He's going to be a key differential for me and my side. Always like to go for one, and I think this man does offer that as a potential opportunity. Moving on to a player I did talk about in one of my other videos, or maybe the live stream with Jake. If you haven't been to one of them yet, come along to the next one because they are great. We answer everybody's questions. They're really fun. Everyone has a great time. There's usually some technical errors, as always, but everyone does enjoy it. to say the least. Right, moving on to our final forward, it is João Pedro. Very impressive summer series for this man, has been massively catching my eye. Seen a few FPL managers on Twitter as well talking about this man. Very low ownership, under 4% at the moment. And as well, last season, 11 goals, 4 assists in the Championship. His price point as well, this is the reason I'm going for him. 5.5. Now Brighton do have a lot of attackers. There is going to be a lot of rotation within that side, a lot of churn, and we only want these players for a short amount of time. If Pedro doesn't work out, it's very easy for me to switch down to a 4.5. We've got that extra 1 million in the bank that we can eventually play with him having low ownership as well. He's not going to dip in price if he's not playing. That's kind of my worry with Mitoma. If he's not playing, like the guy who scored 2 the other night, absolutely came out of nowhere, plays exactly the same position as Mitoma. All it takes is for him not to play one game. People mass sell. He's at 35, 36% ownership. That decreases, gets a price decrease. We're losing team value. That is not what we want early on, ladies and gentlemen. We want to be kind of building that up as much as possible to be taking advantage of our first and second wildcard with that squad budget that we do have. Whereas João Pedro, I feel, is going to stay very much the same. If he does start to smash as well, he's going to massively increase, and we can flip him and we can move him on afterwards. So very happy to have him in. Very impressive as well. We're in the number 9 jersey as well, which to me is kind of, you wouldn't give out a number 9 jersey to a player who's not going to be starting games. So that is kind of the thought process there, and I'm very happy, like I said, impressed with him, passing the eye test in pre-season, looking very good indeed. Right, let's move through the bench. We've got Strokos, yeah, butchered that just a little bit. Basically he is Brentford's other goalkeeper aside from Raya. So basically what I'm doing is just handcuffing is a term in So Rare where you buy both goalkeepers. We're doing the exact same here. So Flecken doesn't play, the other guy comes in. It's very simple. We've got basically a goalkeeper sorted for the season. He's 4 million. There aren't too many other options, it looks like, at 4 million, unfortunately. Doesn't look like Areola is going to be the number 1 goalkeeper this season. Looks like they're going to be keeping with Fabianski, it does seem. So, you know, unless things change, I think he's going to be my number 2 goalkeeper, sorry, if I do go with Flecken. Baldock, cheap 4 million defender. Obviously, we've been through these plenty of times. There are so many good options at 4 million this year. And Buemo, we've spoke about him, 9 goals, 9 assists. Brentford have really good fixtures after game week 2, so he swaps nicely with Eze, and he is probably going to be on penalties this year. Looking very good. I think Visser as well is definitely a player catching the eye in pre-season, so maybe João Pedro does swap out for Visser, and then maybe we go a different option in midfield. Maybe we go Mitoma, we maybe go that way. That is a potential option that I might look to do come game week 1, but we will see. There are going to be changes as always with our early drafts. And then moving on to our final defender, it is Kabore. There we go, Kabore. He is Luton's new right wing back, again at 4 million, so is a nice little bench player to have. That was my updated game week 1 draft, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. If you have any questions about your team, get them in the comments as I answer all of them as well. And we're trying to hit 1,500 before a ball is kicked, ladies and gentlemen. We're like super close to doing it, so if you do enjoy the content, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.